Haunting the southwest regions of North America, the deadly witch owl known as Lechuza uses her massive wings to prowl the night in search of wayward children or lone adults to kill and devour. The witch owl's razor-sharp talons are incredibly powerful, with the ability to dig into vulnerable soft tissue such as the eyes and the throat. She is said to have a large hooked beak for a mouth and uses it to cause serious wounds. Lechuza is able to take the form of ravens, owls, and possibly various large birds of prey. She is able to change her appearance from that of a haggard old woman into a young, beautiful seductress. Regardless of her head's appearance, her body is always that of a large bird that some reports claim to be 7 feet tall with a massive 10-foot wingspan. Some cryptozoologists relate her appearance to that of an ancient Harpy of Greek mythology. Lechuza is supernaturally strong, able to carry off children and small adults to her lair. The owl witch prefers to stalk her prey from above, then perch nearby in an isolated area to begin mimicking the cries of a small child. Her goal is to draw out the curious victim into an ideal location to ambush them. Many believers claim that to even hear the cries of Lechuza is a bad omen that will lead to illness and death within your family or household. Very few, if any, have ever gotten close enough to see her face to face, but those that have claim that her face changes to that of some form of demonic owl animal just moments before her attack. Lechuza's most unique ability may be that of controlling the weather, more specifically storms. It is said that witch owl attacks are most common during thunderstorms, which she herself has summoned. There's a fair amount of confusion as to how to stop Lechuza from attacking. Some say she is in fact immortal and immune to physical attacks altogether, even that of firearms. Some claim that she can be shot, but the tips of the bullets require that crosses be engraved into them. Many Catholics claim that saying the Hail Mary backwards in Spanish will cause her to flee, while Mexican shamans claim they can recite a specific prayer and Lechuza will drop dead instantly. One of the more common methods of dealing with the witch owl are to simply cuss at her, preferably while standing within a circle of the purest salt. Those that have claimed to have killed Lechuza have done so by merely shooting her with a shotgun. However, many argue in those instances it was merely a regular owl or other bird of prey. The word Lechuza generally refers to a witch that turns into an owl in the Mexican and Mexican-American folklores. The classic folklore of Lechuza legend tells of a vengeful woman believed to have exchanged her soul for the ability to transform into an enormous barn owl. Having risen from the grave, she then carries away and devours unsuspecting men, always searching for the low-life drunk of a husband who murdered her. There are several variations of this origin story. In older tales, the witch owl is a good witch that was wrongfully accused by local villagers for using black magic. Once captured, she swore vengeance as they burned her alive. One of the more modern variations of the Lechuza origins claim that the witch owl is a ghost of a woman who was widowed by a man who remarried, or perhaps was the devoted wife of an unfaithful husband. Some have claimed that she is the angry spirit of a woman killed by a drunk driver and now seeks revenge on the men leaving bars late at night. Lechuza is very well known inside Mexico, and to a lesser extent among the southwestern states of the USA. The Rio Grande area of Texas has experienced many witness reports of the witch owl. The witch owl prefers to attack at night, with most sightings occurring after midnight. Long stretches of highway or lone desert roads are one of the favorite places for the witch owl to swoop down close to vehicles. She attempts to distract the driver, forcing him off the road. Once the driver is isolated and the vehicle disabled, the witch owl can attack the drivers that exit the vehicles. In the wide-open deserts of the Southwest, you will find many desolate cabins and homesteads where Lechuza can stalk the residents, drawing them into secluded ambushes. The least desirable encounter is during a storm where visibility is reduced and Lechuza can more easily attack the eyes of the victim. This cryptid is not afraid to hide in barns or in outbuildings and wait patiently for those seeking shelter from the storm to enter. The desert regions of the Southwest are at the same time both desolate and yet inhabited for hundreds of years. There have been many references to the desert being an enchanted place. Perhaps it's just the natural beauty that people feel is so enchanted. It could be a reference to the creatures themselves, however. The flora and the fauna of the Southwest, as well as the cultural history of the region, are well documented. Over the years, researchers have found numerous strange scientific discoveries and locations throughout the desert wilderness. It's the locals, however, that have the most experience with the unexplainable mysteries found in the remote wilderness of the region. Although there is no scientific research into Lechuza, there are tremendous amounts of information regarding the owls that roam the deserts. For example, the great horned owl can close its feet with 500 pounds per square inch of pressure. The average human exerts a maximum of between 80 to 150 pounds per square inch. Essentially, the great horned owl's grip could, in theory, crush a typical grip strength measurement device. Despite this tremendous grip strength, an owl can only lift around its own body weight, approximately 2 to 3 pounds. Owls will dive at cats and dogs, and even people if they have a nest in the area. Sometimes this is misconstrued as an attack or hunting attempt. Owls do not build their own nests because they lay eggs earlier in the year than most other species. They use old raven and hawk nests to raise their young. Barn owls have the best hearing of any animal researched to date. They can catch a live mouse in a completely dark room using audio positioning and a target's heartbeat. Like most other owls, barn owls in fact have asymmetrical positioning of their ears on their head. In other words, one ear is higher than the other. This allows the owl to triangulate the sound and catch prey in a three-dimensional space. Barn owls use their superior hearing to hunt in the darkest night to avoid predation by great horned owls, so they rely almost entirely on their hearing. As for the witch owl, unfortunately there is no serious research outside of cultural lore that has been shared at this point. There's quite a large number of Lechuza encounters. In one instance, Servando Reyes grew up on a ranch in Mexico. At the age of 15, he'd regularly see large white owls peacefully circling the skies above the ranch. He'd grown accustomed to their presence and paid them little mind. One night, however, one of those owls swooped down out of the sky and began clawing at his face. His dog attacked the owl, allowing him to flee towards safety. Once he was clear, the dog followed, and the two ran for the ranch house, with the owl tearing at their backs. Once inside, they locked the doors. The owl lingered around the doors and windows for a while before finally flying off. Reyes was confident that he had escaped the owl's wrath. When he turned to his dog, he noticed he was unusually quiet and still. He called the dog to come eat, but it remained still as a statue. Soon he realized the dog in fact had died. Despite having sustained barely more than a few scratches in the attack, nothing life-threatening. It was in that moment that Reyes understood he'd been visited by Lechuza. Had his dog not intervened, he too might have been killed by the witch owl.
Lechuza, part owl, part woman, all monster. The ancient Mayans believed that once the sun went down, the realm of death arrived, and the owls were gods of the damned. In myths around the world, owls are perceived as heralds of doom, baby stalkers, night killers.
The Lechuza is really pervasive in the Southwest, and it's moving into other parts of the United States. The idea behind the Lechuza is that it drains you physically, and it does this through fear and torment.
A shape-shifting witch known as Lechuza, the owl.
It's sent to cause terror and eventually have the person die of fear. That's the purpose of this thing, is to scare you to death.
The origins of the legend supposedly start with an old medicine woman, one that strayed from healing to black magic. After newborn babies went missing, villagers arrived at her door. They were determined to wipe out the conjuring crone. Witch, death didn't last long. Lechuza was born, and she's out for revenge. Reports of Lechuza continue to surface across the Southwest. Recently, in Austin, Texas, 2 teenagers went looking for fun. They nearly ended up as prey for the bloodthirsty owl witch.
We just had band practice and we were hanging out, and we just had one of those nights where we really didn't have anything to do.
In the summer of 2010, David Garcia was 15 years old. His brother, Mike Andres, was 6 years older. On a whim, they decided to hunt around in a derelict structure on the outskirts of town.
Come on, you guys go that way. We're gonna look this way. Dude, I don't want to. Come on.
I'll be honest, I was nervous because I've never really gone into an abandoned building at midnight.
Come on, let's go.
And it was like, am I really doing this?
As they entered the building, the air suddenly went cold.
It was that eerie kind of cold where you get a chill up your spine and you're just kind of like, I shouldn't be here.
This is so cool.
So we walked around and we could hear scuttling and noises here and there, things falling. We thought, it was just an abandoned building. Maybe nobody took care of it and it was just falling apart.
Did you hear that?
But then the noises turned into voices.
I just hear there's someone behind me Mike.
Was that you? What are you trying to do? Freak me out? Dude, it wasn't me.
It was more of a softer, younger woman's voice.
I think it came from down there. Let's go check it out.
I was scared. That's what we were like, who was in here with us.
Despite their fear, daredevil courage led the brothers on.
we start walking, we hear a screech.
What was that?
A screech, just petrifying kind of screech.
I heard wings. I heard her talons. I heard claws.
It was clear they trespassed on monster territory.
When you hear this, you're mortified, you're frozen in fear.
There it is. All we see is something perched over the banister.
Mike's yelling, oh my God, bad things are gonna happen if we stay here. We're gonna die. Tonight's the night we're gonna die. I literally thought it would just get us and rip us apart.
Mike and David were running for their lives, while Lechuza close behind.
All we saw was something black feathery slam itself against the window. It was fierce. It wanted to break those doors down.
On the other side of the glass, a creature that would haunt their memory forever.
And I see clear, a young girl. I mean, nothing past 20, just staring.
In the folklore, it describes the creature's eyes that are like dark chasms that you stare into and that create a really heightened sense of paralysis and horror.
Come on, let's get out of here.
Breaking free of Lechuza's mesmerizing grip, the brothers escaped with their lives.
I truly believe that I was in the presence of this majestical, demonic thing. I wish I could put in more words how beautifully terrible it was.
There has been some increased interest in La Lechuza lately due to the recent discussions circling around La Llorona. People have renewed their interest in the cryptids and legends of the Southwest, most likely during Google or YouTube search recommendations during a La Llorona legend inquiry. Some of you may have even stumbled across the very disturbing dark side of the La Lechuza stories. Unfortunately, local farmers and superstitious residents of the region have been capturing owls and either killing them outright or torturing them with fire in some bizarre way of interrogation. In several videos that I would strongly discourage you from searching for, farmers claim to be interrogating a captured witch owl in a cage trap. At one horrific point, they light the poor owl on fire, thinking that they are somehow torturing La Lechuza. The owl fortunately survived and was cared for by veterinarians. The local outcry regarding the tragic video was massive, with Spanish and English-speaking news media denouncing such activity as barbaric and ignorant. Which brings me to a rare statement of opinion. I would hate to think that any animal or human could or would be hurt in some misguided attempt to identify a cryptid of any kind. There are many animals in various states of ill health or disease that could easily be misidentified as a monster or perhaps evil entity. Bears with mange, wolves with rabies, or some abnormally large animal could easily be killed or injured in a hasty late-night decision or chance encounter. We've frequently mentioned in these videos that misidentification is always a possible option for many witness accounts of supernatural activity or paranormal encounters. This statement of opinion is not trying to say that all cryptid encounters are misidentified known animals, but it does beg the question, are you certain that your actions are rational and sensible in the heat of a suspected paranormal or supernatural incident? Anyway, sorry to end this on a somewhat somber note, but I felt something needed to be said in lieu of the tragic event mentioned. What are your thoughts? Do you think La Lechuza is real, or is it some antiquated attempt to keep kids in at night and drunk men off the roads? Do you know anybody that has encountered La Lechuza, or perhaps had a close encounter with a huge angry owl? Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.